You know that sound, the one that follows you into the shower, into your car, into the quiet moments before you fall asleep. For me, that sound was my own friends laughing at me. Not with me. At me. I was sitting in a fancy rooftop bar in downtown Seattle, surrounded by people I thought loved me, and I felt like a ghost at my own birthday dinner. My best friend since high school, a girl named Presley, was holding up her phone, showing everyone a meme. The caption said, "When you realize your friend has zero personality." The picture was of me sitting alone reading a book. I forced a smile, but my stomach dropped. Then my other friend, a guy named Ash, chimed in. He said, "Come on, you have to admit, you're kind of boring. You never go out, you never drink, you actually enjoy spreadsheets. It's weird." They all laughed. Presley said, "She's not boring, she's just safe. Predictable. You know what I mean? Safe. Predictable. Boring." Those words burned into my skin like a brand. I didn't fight back. I didn't cry. I just finished my water, paid my bill, and went home. That night I sat on my couch and stared at the wall for 2 hours. I wasn't sad. I was thinking. They had no idea what I was capable of. And I was about to show them. To understand why their words hurt so much, you need to know who I was in that friend group. My name is Quinn. I've known Presley since we were kids, growing up in the same neighborhood outside Seattle. She was always the loud one, the popular one, the one everyone wanted to be around. I was her quiet shadow. I helped her with her homework, listened to her boy problems, showed up when she needed a ride or a shoulder to cry on. But I was never the star. Ash joined our group in college. He was charming and funny, the kind of guy who could make anyone laugh. Together, Presley and Ash decided I needed to be fixed. They thought I was too serious, too focused on my boring marketing job, too content with reading books on Friday nights. They didn't know I was paying off my mom's medical bills. They didn't know I was working 60 hours a week to build a portfolio that would eventually make me a creative director. They just saw the surface. A girl who didn't post on Instagram enough, who didn't have a wild story to tell, who didn't crave attention. And they called me boring. That night after the rooftop bar, I opened my laptop and made a decision. I wasn't going to confront them. I wasn't going to beg for their respect. I was going to become so successful that their opinions would mean nothing. There was one thing Presley and Ash agreed on more than anything. Their love for a streetwear brand called Velo. You've probably seen it. It's the brand with the lightning bolt logo, the one that sells hoodies for $200 and sneakers that sell out in minutes. Presley had a closet full of Velo. Ash had a collection of their limited edition hats. They talked about Velo like it was a religion. Every drop, every collaboration, every rumor about a new store opening, they knew about it. And every time they talked about it, they would look at me and say, "You wouldn't get it, Quinn. It's not for boring people." That stung. But it also gave me an idea. I worked in marketing. I knew how brands worked. I knew Velo was popular, but they had a problem. They were struggling to reach a new audience. Their sales were plateauing. I had seen the reports because my small agency had pitched them for a campaign. We lost the pitch, but I kept the research. I knew their weaknesses. So I decided to do something insane. Make Velo even bigger. So big that Presley and Ash wouldn't be able to afford it anymore. So big that their favorite brand would become everyone's brand. And they would have me to thank. I didn't tell anyone what I was doing. Not my coworkers, not my mom, not my cat. I worked in secret. Every night after my regular job, I would come home and study Velo's marketing strategy. Their social media, customer reviews, pricing, their gaps. I noticed something they were missing. No presence in the sustainable fashion space. Young consumers were starting to care about where their clothes came from, and Velo was ignoring that. So I built a proposal. A full marketing campaign focused on sustainability, ethical manufacturing, and transparency. I spent 3 months on it. Creating mock-ups, writing copy, designing a whole rollout strategy. Then I sent it to Velo's head of marketing anonymously. Just an email with a PDF attached. No name, no company, just the work. A week later, I got a response. They wanted to meet. I walked into their downtown Seattle office wearing my usual boring clothes, my hair in a simple ponytail, no makeup. The executives were confused. They were expecting a flashy agency. Instead, they got a quiet girl with a laptop and a binder full of research. I presented my campaign for 45 minutes. When I finished, the room was silent. Then the CEO said, "Who are you?" I told them my name was Quinn and I was just a marketing associate at a small agency. They asked why I had done this work for free. I said, because I believe in this brand and I think you're missing a huge opportunity. That was partially true. The other reason was sitting in my back pocket like a slow-burning fire. Revenge. Velo offered me a contract on the spot. A freelance project with a budget of $50,000. I almost choked. That was more than my annual salary at the time. I signed the papers with shaking hands. For the next 6 months, I worked with Velo's team to launch the new campaign. We called it Velo Roots. It focused on where the clothes came from, the people who made them, and the planet we all share. The launch was massive. Influencers posted about it. News outlets covered it. Sales went up by 40% in the first quarter. Velo's stock price jumped. The brand that Presley and Ash worshipped was now being worn by everyone. Celebrities, athletes, politicians, even their parents. And nobody knew that the quiet boring girl was the one who made it happen. 8 months after I started working with Velo, I was still in the group chat with Presley and Ash. I hadn't told them anything. I watched from the shadows as their world shifted. Presley posted a message saying, "Can you believe Velo is everywhere now? It used to be cool and underground. Now my mom wants one of their hoodies." Ash replied, "They sold out. The brand is dead to me." I read those messages and smiled. They called me boring, but they were the ones who couldn't handle change. They wanted their favorite brand to stay small and exclusive, just like they wanted me to stay small and invisible. But I had other plans. A few weeks later, Velo released a limited edition collection called The Quiet Ones. Inspired by people who work behind the scenes, the introverts, the dreamers, the ones who don't need attention to make an impact. The marketing copy said, "Not all heroes wear capes. Some wear hoodies and get the job done in silence." I wrote that line. The collection sold out in 4 hours. Presley tried to buy a hoodie. It was already gone. She posted a sad face emoji in the group chat. Ash said, "It's fine, the brand is overrated anyway." I could have kept my secret forever. But I wanted them to know. I wanted to see their faces when they realized that the boring friend they made fun of had quietly taken over their favorite brand. So I invited them to coffee. Just the 3 of us, at the same cafe where we used to hang out in college. They showed up looking bored, like they were doing me a favor. Presley was scrolling through her phone. Ash was complaining about his job. I waited until they both looked at me, and then I said, "Remember how you used to call me boring?" Presley laughed. She said, "Oh my God, that was ages ago. Don't be so sensitive." I said, "I'm not being sensitive. I'm being honest. You called me boring, and I made your favorite brand sell out." They both stared at me. Ash said, "What are you talking about?" I pulled out my phone and showed them my emails with Velo's executives. The campaign deck I had created. The Velo Roots launch photos with me standing in the background. Presley's face went pale. Ash dropped his phone. Presley whispered, "You did all of that? The Quiet Ones collection? That was you?" I nodded. I said, "The boring girl made your brand mainstream." "You're welcome." Presley didn't speak for a full minute. Then she said, "Why didn't you tell us?" I said, "Because you never asked. You saw me as boring, so you never bothered to look deeper. You never asked about my work, my dreams, or my life. You just laughed. Ash looked guilty. He said, "We were just joking. We didn't mean to hurt you." I said, "Jokes are funny when everyone laughs." I wasn't laughing. I was planning. Presley started crying. She said, "I'm sorry. I didn't know you felt that way." I believed her. I knew she was sorry. But sorry doesn't erase years of being made to feel small. I said, "I forgive you. But I'm done being your sidekick. I have a career now, a real one. I'm leaving the group chat. I'm not mad. I'm just moving on." I paid for the coffee, stood up, and walked out. They didn't follow me. They just sat there, probably wondering how they missed everything. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. I had already won. Here is what I learned. Being called boring is not an insult. It's a clue. It means you're focused on things that actually matter. It means you're not wasting your energy on performative nonsense. Presley and Ash called me boring because I didn't perform for them. I didn't post every thought online. I didn't need their validation to feel alive. And while they were busy talking, I was busy building. While they were posting about brands, I was creating them. While they were laughing at me, I was making their favorite things disappear. If you are watching this and someone has made you feel small because you're quiet, because you work hard, because you don't crave the spotlight, hear me. Your silence is not weakness. It is strategy. Your focus is not boring. It is power. Keep building. Keep dreaming. And one day, the people who dismissed you will be buying tickets to the show you built. I am Quinn. I was the boring friend. And I made their favorite brands sell out. Thank you for listening to my story. If you have ever been made to feel like you're not enough because you're quiet or different, know that you are not alone. The loudest people are not always the most powerful. Sometimes, the quiet ones are the ones changing the world while everyone else is distracted. If this story touched your heart, please like and subscribe. Share it with someone who needs to hear that their hard work matters. This is Quinn. See you in the next story. And remember, boring is just another word for underestimated. Use it to your advantage.